Siddhartha Gautama once said, "Be an island unto yourself." What he meant was that enlightenment and freedom from suffering is found in one's pursuit of those things on their own. While he meant well in that goodness, tranquility, and peace are found in hard work and perseverance, he was wrong on a vital factor of the human experience. The fact that goodness and peace are not found in the separation from others, but in the coming together to pursue them as a community. Hello and welcome to another Streaming Parson Dig Delight Direct Drive DJ video. Today we are talking about Rondo's stoic songstress, Aoyagi Tsubaki. While Happy Around's Rinku is the face of the franchise, it can be said that Tsubaki is the main character of Groovy Mix, because her story embodies the central theme of D4DJ's narrative: life's fulfillment in coming together. Tsubaki's character evolution throughout Groovy Mix tells a story of a lonely, isolated girl become a truly trustworthy friend. Tsubaki's story begins with her lamenting about her feelings of loneliness stuck in darkness, with an ironic church backdrop. This short moment says a lot about Tsubaki. A church, for all intents and purposes, is a religious community center, yet Tsubaki is often seen alone inside of it, showing us that she lives an isolated life. This is emphasized by the fact that later in Road to D4 Fest Rondo, her church can have a community outreach event without her knowing, and a church member not even know who Tsubaki is, despite that she has been in their choir for years. While it would be easy and fun to poke at how terrible this church is at not knowing its own choir members while promoting a community event, this dynamic is meant to show how disconnected Tsubaki is to people, and it is made clear that while she stands in a place meant to reach out to others, she herself needs to be reached out to. Tsubaki is formally introduced in D4DJ's narrative, singing alone inside of her church. Rondo's founder, Aoi, upon hearing her, is enamored and must recruit for her DJ unit. She approaches Tsubaki and requests to hear more of her singing. While it is understandable that anyone would be freaked out by a stranger asking them to sing, Tsubaki's isolated nature is highlighted by the fact that even in a place that she treats as her haven, she is meek and passive and resorts to running away from her problems. Aoi, however, is not one to quit and continuously reaches out to Tsubaki, seeing her at school and inviting her to the nightclub Alter Ego, where Rondo operates. Normally, one would not respond positively to a creepy lady who can't watch her phrasing, but Tsubaki considers Aoi's invitation because she got so caught up on 3 simple words: I need you. It doesn't take much to lure Tsubaki to your base of operation, as she felt compelled to see Aoi at Alter Ego. This is a big deal, as Alter Ego in early Groovy Mix was explicitly said to be an adult member-only nightclub, meaning that a person cannot simply walk into a Rondo performance. Normally, that sort of restriction, along with its commonly known steep entry fees, would deter anyone from going. But Tsubaki is undeterred because for once, she feels as if she is important. However, she is immediately filled with doubt when seeing Sakurayuki, Rondo's guest vocalist, and runs from the venue. Again, the audience sees that Tsubaki is the type to run away and self-isolate the moment she starts feeling emotionally vulnerable. Aoi, seeing this, responds with going after her. After finding Tsubaki losing her wallet while lost in thought, Aoi clearly communicates that she wants Tsubaki to be Rondo's official vocalist. Tsubaki is hesitant at first, but she is willing to consider it. However, it is going to take some more nudging from Rondo to get her to accept Aoi's proposal. Newly recruited Nagisa approaches Tsubaki and invites her for some dessert. While waiting for their order, Nagisa elaborates on Aoi's desire for an official vocalist and becoming Alter Ego's resident DJ unit. She then asks Tsubaki if she's going to accept the invitation, and when she senses reluctance, decides to go super meta and asks, "Has your story begun?" It is here that Tsubaki reflects on if she's going to keep on being the same isolated, lonely girl, or if she's going to embrace the call to adventure.
そうなんだ。じゃなくて、要件は何ですか？
敬語じゃなくていいよ、ためなんだし。ああ、要件ね。葵の話受けるの？あ、盗み聞きした。わけじゃなくないんだけど、それはヒーローの趣味で、私は止めたんだけど。まあ、それはそれとして。覚悟できてないんだな。
覚悟？
見たんだろ？あのステージ。葵はアルターエゴの専属 DJ になるやつだ。あそこの専属は半端な気持ちじゃ務まらない。でもだからこそ葵はあんたに声をかけたんだ。なあ、椿。
はい。
あんたの物語は始まってるのか？
私の物語。
私の物語はもう始まってる。始まっちまったんだ。葵とヒーローとのあのステージで。話はそれだけ。あとはあんた次第。
私は
Self-isolation often begins with feelings of insignificance. When one gets a sense that they are unappreciated or unimportant, they develop the mentality that they are worth less as a person. Groovy Mix as a narrative utilizes the traditional call to adventure to draw characters into new environments to cultivate their personality and become more than what they were before. Tsubaki is faced with this call. But since this is D4DJ, the introspection doesn't need to be too deep, as she realizes that the moment she met Aoi was the beginning of her story. Taking Nagisa's advice, she takes the plunge to leave her old life behind and begin a new story as Rondo's vocalist. Looking back at Road to D4 Fest Rondo feels strange. 4 years since Groovy Mix launched in late 2020. Bushiroad and now Donuts have written a lot of stories since and have greatly retconned Tsubaki's loner aspect. For instance, not only has Tsubaki been in her church's choir for years, as established in Road to D4 Fest, but she has been attending this church with another D4DJ character for years. In the Two Treasures member card story, Lyrical Lily's Miyu not only has been part of the same church congregation since early childhood, but she has been a choir member with Tsubaki for almost a decade. This short story ends up looking doofy as it reveals a plot hole in Tsubaki's sense of isolation. Consider Miyu's inclusive personality at the age of 6. She treated Tsubaki as her friend despite their age gap, even inviting her to her birthday party. Even though Tsubaki's core character flaw of overthinking herself into cowardice has her run away from Miyu's house, Miyu would still reach out and treat her as a friend. This begs the question, what stopped them from being friends? If one goes with the notion that Tsubaki simply chose to ignore Miyu every Sunday for a decade, that makes her look outright mean, putting in the effort to avoid Miyu. Two Treasures implies that Tsubaki could have had close friends quite easily, as she had options to make friends at her local church, and while it is easy to dismiss the potato-faced NPCs, it is safe to assume that Miyu cannot be the only person who would try befriending Tsubaki. At this point, her inability to make friends really is just a skill issue. One does not need to look as far as obscure birthday cards to see out-of-place retcons for Tsubaki's D4DJ acquaintances. In 10 Questions for Tsubaki, when asked if anyone from one of the other main 6 units interest her, Tsubaki states, "If anyone, I'd say Kyoko Yamate of Piki Piki. Not because she's a vocalist too. Maybe it's me, but I sense we have something in common." This quote implies that she is curious about a part of Kyoko's personality that possibly makes them similar, implying some mystery. However, this curiosity is retconned, as in the Tsubaki card story, Days Before, Days After. Tsubaki already knows what this shared trait is. Days Before, Days After tells a story of Tsubaki and Kyoko reuniting at D4 Fest. They comment that they haven't seen each other since the days they were both students of Call of Artemis's Airi. A flashback is given, implied to take place when Kyoko is in middle school, which is not supposed to be that long ago. With a maximum of 4 years prior to this reunion, this flashback is considered recent memory. Considering that this flashback is given from Tsubaki's perspective, she is able to recall quite well Kyoko's desire to improve as a singer, as she has someone to give her voice to. Tsubaki further ponders Airi's words of one day understanding Kyoko's fervor when she finds someone to sing for. She states that she has found that same passion for herself since joining Rondo. 10 Questions for Tsubaki takes place after Road to D4 Fest, so Kyoko's motivation should not be a mystery to Tsubaki. The bigger issue that this character card presents is Tsubaki's go-getter attitude when it comes to improving her singing. A major point in Road to D4 Fest Rondo made is how Tsubaki lost all confidence in her singing when she was rejected in joining a music group in high school. She states that the rejection made her believe she would never become a vocalist. Tsubaki continues that even though she had no confidence in herself, she would keep up with singing because she could not let it go. The continuity flows just fine when there was little world building in Tsubaki's backstory. But as she continuously had added elements to her past, Tsubaki's logic stops working. There is an unexplained plot hole that exists that is supposed to connect Tsubaki and Airi meeting. Although it is not explicitly stated, at some point in Tsubaki's middle school life, she sought out Airi in order to do singing training. There are 2 problems with this. First, if Tsubaki had been training with Airi before high school, then her confidence should not be an issue when it comes to singing, knowing that she is training with a musical legend. A few words from some high schoolers wouldn't affect her as much as they should if she has Airi to fall back on for encouragement. The second problem is that Tsubaki actively searched out someone else to improve her singing, which contradicts the passivity she is known for. In Road to D4 Fest 2, Call of Artemis, Airi states that she wanted to lay low after an early retirement. Apparently, she's not very good at this, as she meets LMO's Ryujin, who offers her a job in a musical-themed cafe. Airi is not the sharpest teenager, as Tsubaki did not need to put in a lot of effort in order to find her hiding in plain sight. Despite this, it is jarring for a girl that is depicted to be socially avoidant and runs away from her problems to actively seek Airi out. The loner aspect of Tsubaki is diminished with each added acquaintance used to build Tsubaki's backstory. Between the kindness of her church choir through Miyu and seeking out the retired Airi on her own volition, Tsubaki is not much of a loner. Tonight, a special night for you, tells a story of how Tsubaki wants to take care of Miyu when she finds out she's going to be home alone the next week. She volunteers to be her caretaker and house sitter for the day, but clearly, Tsubaki didn't think this through too well because Miyu lives in a super castle of a mansion with far too much work for one person. Fortunately for her, the rest of Rondo volunteered to tag along with Tsubaki to help house sit. In a literal sense, Tsubaki is reminded that she is not alone when taking on challenges that are too big for her, as Rondo is always there to lend a hand. The corresponding Tsubaki member card story, Because I Want to Make You Happy, takes a particular moment in Rondo's house sitting to remind the audience of one of Tsubaki's other character flaws. That she is terrible at doing housework. For starters, she is clumsy, nearly breaking an expensive vase. But Nagisa is there to quickly catch it before it hits the floor. Later, when Tsubaki thinks she's got a handle on cleaning one of the hallways, Rondo enters the scene, praising her hard work. Flustered, she knocks over the pail of water she was using, making a bigger mess than she started with. Feeling bad, Rondo comes to her aid, letting Tsubaki rest, while they take care of the new mess. Returning to the main component of Tonight, a Special Night for You, Tsubaki takes Nagisa to help her tend Miyu's garden. Considering that most Japanese residents either live in apartments or small houses with hardly any excess space for grass to grow, not being used to outdoor work combined with her clumsiness, one can quickly guess how this is going to turn out. Between freaking out over automated sprinklers and not being able to properly operate a lawnmower, Nagisa is left to do all the gardening herself. Tsubaki is not deterred as she really wants to contribute, so she tries her hand at setting a dinner table. Just like the vase case, she nearly breaks more expensive stuff, leading Tsubaki to concede that she truly is incompetent at this whole housework thing. Rondo is quick to remind Tsubaki that there are other ways she can help with taking care of Miyu that goes beyond the manual labor of housework. Rondo's stories often teach a theme of camaraderie and solidarity to counteract Tsubaki's feelings of loneliness. Tsubaki's physical ineptness is used as a vehicle to have others intervene, reminding her that she is not alone and that she can rely on others. This is meant to dive at something deeper into Tsubaki's psyche, that she needs to learn that she is not just supported by others physically, but is also emotionally supported by them. On a side note, her physical ineptness is solidified by the fact that she is the only character who does not possess a secondary skill. Hiro has tailoring, Aoi has jam making, Nagisa can craft charms and accessories, Tsubaki has memorizing songs really well. Yeah, that's what she can do. She has no skill outside of music, making it easy to write that she needs others to support her all the time, since she is written to be pretty hopeless if left on her own. Which makes one wonder how she has survived as long as she has, but more on the nose, can always use Tsubaki to reiterate the theme of camaraderie. Nagisa proposes that Tsubaki can sing a song for Miyu during dinner. While Tsubaki is basically useless everywhere else, she has one skill, and her friends remind her that with that one skill, she can do her part in helping others. The point being made is that one cannot feel crushed under their weaknesses, but to take comfort and find strength in knowing that there are people in one's life that can be relied on. Tsubaki is constantly reminded that she is not alone, as she always has Rondo to not only be her physical strength, but her emotional strength as she builds her own story.
僕の声と鳴り響くほろ
祈りも
あの日世界の広さを知った。がむしゃらにロンドの世界を追い求めこだわってきたけど、世界はあまりにも広かった。高めたい、あの広い世界でロンドンをもっと。でもどうやって？
A major plot point in Tsubaki's character evolution is her need to look at life beyond herself in order to grow beyond the meek and timid lonely girl she started out as. Double Mix begins with Tsubaki thinking about how big the world really is after the first D4 Fest. She wonders how she's going to navigate through this new world she has discovered. Her anxiety reverts her back into isolated behavior, leading to a stagnant view on her musical pursuits. Early in the episode, Aoi finds Tsubaki in a familiar backdrop, being alone in the church, pondering how she can feel needed. One would take note of Aoi's statement about being offended, that Tsubaki still feels the way she does after being in Rondo for some time. The issue Tsubaki is having is that it is going to take more than just Rondo coming around in companionship to grow even further as a character, now that the proverbial bar has been raised. Enter mermaids Rika, Tsubaki's supposed oldest friend since early elementary school, now reunited after not seeing each other for nearly a decade. Rika initiates Double Mix's plot by barging into Rondo's backstage and begs Tsubaki to do a mermaid and Rondo collaboration. Tsubaki's loner aspect resurfaces as she is the one to reject the idea of teaming up, but eventually caves in to the peer pressure. Aoi even states that this collaboration would help with her musical rut. But once again, Tsubaki is not convinced, thinking that her confusion is something that she must face alone. One evening, as Tsubaki is heading home from Alter Ego, the audience is granted a scene of Tsubaki's core character flaw at play. Her unnecessary overthinking overvalues various opinions of bystanders regarding the upcoming collaboration. She takes the criticisms of some random guys more seriously than her own DJ unit, who were confident that the show was going to be a hit. Tsubaki retreats to a familiar backdrop to struggle with her doubtful thoughts alone. However, she needs to find a new place to brood, because everyone knows to find her there. Rika enters the scene, excited of their upcoming duet, but Tsubaki bursts in tears. Wallowing in her sense of shame and feeling weak and unable to grow. Although this is a step backwards from her desire to improve in lieu of the first D4 Fest, this moment is used to hammer home Tsubaki's central character theme. That she can be brave in her fears because she is not alone. Rika responds by bursting into tears herself, understanding Tsubaki's pain, showing the latter that even the bubbly Rika can have the same fears and doubts. It is through this solidarity that Tsubaki can trust Rika's confidence in their upcoming show. Considering Double Mix is the most screen time Tsubaki is going to get in the animation, the direction may as well be as on the nose as possible by having Rika tell Tsubaki that everything is going to be okay, because they have each other and they have their units.
私もね、全然怖いよ、明日。だってさ、アルタエゴなんてマーメイドにとっては絶対アウェイだし、ドン引きされたらどうしようとかさ。
そっか、そうだよね。
でもステージにはマーメイドの仲間と椿が、ロンドのみんながいる。こんな心強いことある？
ない。 リカ、ありがとう。明日最高な一夜にしよう。
Rika and Tsubaki have a comedic fire and ice dynamic between them, and their opposite personalities make for entertaining drama. In the Unchanging Person member card story, Rika and Tsubaki bump into each other on their evening strolls. Since this is a rare opportunity, Rika decides to drag Tsubaki to a park to look at some cherry blossoms. They make some small talk and quickly reveal that in actuality, neither of them actually care all that much for flowers. Despite this, Rika is insistent that they make viewing the cherry blossoms a yearly tradition. Tsubaki's resistance and avoidance has her miss the point of simply living life in community. But since Tsubaki is normally such a loner, she doesn't think this way. The same theme is brought up again in the Sparkling Buds Bursting Lagoon story. Rondo and Mermaid are selected to do another collaboration for the famous Ani-Mello event. Unlike Double Mix, where the creative process is skipped over to focus on Tsubaki's loner lifestyle, the story emphasizes the two college DJ units spending time with each other and bonding. When the others decide to spend their first afternoon playing at a beach, Tsubaki decides she wants to be separate from everyone else and sits on the sidelines. The story immediately makes her regret that decision as she has to watch Saori get some of that coveted Aoi Riz. This results in her being callous toward her when they are supposed to be working together to prepare dinner for everybody. Fortunately, Saori is able to come up with conversation for them to bond. The subject of Rika's rambunctiousness is brought up, and once again, Tsubaki is given the opportunity to have solidarity with someone, drawing her out of her isolated bubble. What is important about this interaction is that Tsubaki reveals that she is completely aware that Rika and Aoi are forceful at times so that she can change for the better. However, the problem with this scene is that it is vague on how she has actually changed for the better. The running theme in these Tsubaki stories is that she often receives love and affection from others, which help her overcome her sense of isolation. She is surrounded by many friends that continuously give themselves for her and go out of their way to relieve her sense of loneliness. It is a rare treat to see Tsubaki return that love and affection so directly to relieve someone else in their time of weakness. Mutual feelings conveys emotion begins with the typical Tsubaki and Rika interaction. Rika intrudes into Tsubaki's apartment to make chocolates, annoying the latter. Rika meets Tsubaki's mother, inspiring her to arrange an opportunity for mother and daughter to bond after learning that they do not actually talk much. One would think that this story would play out like a standard Tsubaki story where she has people come together to dispel her isolation. Later that day, Tsubaki is at a hospital doing some physical tests and sees Rika there as well. She is curious about what Rika is doing there, as not only does she know her way around, but is apparently carrying some of the chocolates she made. Tsubaki suspects that Rika has someone special at the hospital, which turns out to be her older brother. She eavesdrops on the siblings' chit-chat, but feels guilty about her stalker behavior and leaves before the brother has some news to tell Rika. The next scene has more of Rika's intrusion, suggesting that they hang out on Valentine's Day, even including Tsubaki's mother in a social hangout. Tsubaki gives her usual pushback, but unlike other times, where Rika would persist until Tsubaki gave in, she leaves in tears. Tsubaki is taken aback as this is different for her.
何よ、ちょっと言い返しただけで急に泣き出しそうな顔しちゃって。だったら最初から人の事情に踏み込んでくるんじゃないわよ。いつもは私の言うことなんて無視して勝手に全部やっちゃうくせに。それでなんだかんだ言って全部うまくやっちゃうのに。やるならそれぐらいやっていきなさいよ。 じゃないと私どうすればいいのよ。分かってる。甘えたってことくらい。リカはただ本当に私たちのことを思って動いてくれただけ。それを私言い過ぎちゃった。
What is interesting about this scene is how self-conscious Tsubaki is. She points out that she was expecting their standard routine, suggesting that deep down, she knows Rika is right about her relationship with her mother. Between Aoi and Rika, Tsubaki is used to being the one lifted up out of her isolation and admits that she has become too reliant on them. The following scene has her return to the hospital not only to do more physical tests, but to hopefully bump into Rika. As plot convenience would have it, Rika is at the hospital, but this time in tears. This prompts Tsubaki to interrogate her. Rika tries dodging the questions, which causes Tsubaki to call her out on her hypocrisy. Tsubaki makes the point of how Rika goes out of her way to help others, but is unwilling to let others help her, even when she is in pain. She continues that she wants to help Rika sort through her emotions, inverting Tsubaki's frequent passivity. Rika reveals that her brother, who has some sort of chronic illness, is to undergo surgery. She fears that Murphy's Law will apply to him and that she might possibly lose him. She knows she must be strong for him, but feels alone because she doesn't want to burden her friends, including Mermaid, with her troubles. Tsubaki chimes in, telling the extrovert the importance of having friends. The kind of friends that are willing to stand by your side when the tough times come. She uncharacteristically uses a lot of words to tell Rika that she is not alone. What makes this scene so special is how Tsubaki looks nothing like the weak and insecure loner we saw in Road to D4 Fest, as she truly understands what it means to belong and be part of a community. She reminds Rika that she is her friend and is always willing to help her, because that is what friends are for.
弱音は吐いちゃいけないって分かってる。けど、マーメイドのみんなにこんな話できなかった。友達に相談なんて迷惑だと思っちゃってさ。相談できる人もいなくて。だから。
バカね、リカ。
え？
何のためにお兄さんはリカにたくさん友達を作れって言ったと思ってるの？
それは遊ぶため？
違う。辛いことがあったら分け合えるようによ。一人きりじゃ抱えきれないことも友達とだったら乗り越えられる。リカのお兄さんはそう考えてたんだと思う。だから少しは頼りなさいよ。私もリカの友達なんだから。
つばき
こら、病院なんだからうるさくしないの。
The story ends with Rika becoming comfortable talking about her brother and invites Mermaid to see him. While this is happening, Tsubaki is outside, commenting on Rika's blessings to have so many understanding friends. She reflects on how it was through hard work and kindly reaching out to others is what built Rika's circle of friends that she can rely on. Tsubaki wonders to herself if she has it in her to reach out to others. The truth is, she always had it in her, and although it took a while, she was able to bring out goodness, tranquility, and peace to her friend in her time of loneliness. Life is full of trials and tribulations, but what is important is how we face those troubles in our lives. When life becomes overbearing at times, it is easy to shirk into isolation and feel as if no one cares. Poet John Donne said, "No one is an island entire of itself. Everyone is a piece of the continent, a part of the main." The truth is, you are not alone in this life, and if you are willing to accept it, there are people who want to walk beside you in your story. Tsubaki's revelation of not being alone is the great gift she wants to impart into the lives of others, both in-universe and those viewing it. Take her words to heart that you are not alone, and with the strength found in that reality, everything is gonna be okay, because we are all in this together. So keep your chin up, and don't let life's troubles get you down.